It was 1968 in St. Louis, one of 6 new NHL cities. The Blues were facing the Montreal Canadiens in the first Stanley Cup game played west of the Mississippi River. Only 10,231 showed up for game number 1. But the Canadiens were without Jean Beliveau, who was out of the lineup with a fractured leg. The Blues went with Glenn Hall in the first game, while the Canadiens countered with their veteran mainstay, Gump Worsley. Barclay Plager's slapshot at 9:19 gave the upstart Blues the lead. But 23 seconds later, it was Claude LaRose to Henri Richard in a tie game. A second-period goal by ex-Canadian Dickie Moore got the Blues the lead again. But John Ferguson set up Yvan Cournoyer for the tying goal late in the second. No scoring in the third. That meant overtime, and Frank St. Marseille nearly won the game. But Jacques Lemaire cannoned in the winner at 1:41 of OT, Montreal 3, St. Louis 2. In the second game, the two teams scratched and clawed for 2 periods, and there were some great scoring chances. Again, Glenn Hall was brilliant. And St. Marseille, who nearly won game 1, had this one clank the post in the scoreless third period. But Serge Savard poked home a goal at 2:17 of the third to give the Canadiens the lead. In the waning seconds, the Blues pulled Hall, but couldn't get past Montreal's tight defense. The Canadiens had made it 2 straight, both games by 1 goal. In Montreal, Scotty Bowman, who took over the Blues in mid-season that year, watched as for the second time in 3 games, his team scored first. Again, it was St. Marseille, midway in period number 1. But 4 minutes later, Richard fed Cournoyer to tie the game. In the second period, at 1:23, Serge Savard converted a breakaway. But the Blues' Red Berenson got that one back 2 minutes later. In the third period, Ralph Backstrom put Toe Blake's Habs back in front once more. But Berenson, with 2:35 to go, angered the Canadiens and especially Worsley with one that forced the game into overtime. Early and sudden death, the Canadiens struck. Dickie Duff did the work. Bobby Rousseau converted the rebound. The Canadiens won it by a score of 4-3. In Game 4, the Canadiens took a 1-0 lead on Lemaire's feed to Duff in the opening period. But the Blues connected twice in the second. Craig Cameron from Tim Ecclestone at 6:53. Then Gary Sabrin from Gary Veneruso at 7:50. In the third period, Henri Richard tied the game at 7:24. And with just 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go, J.C. Tremblay broke the deadlock. The last Blues opportunity of the series came from the stick of Barclay Plager. It was halted. The Canadiens won it, winning each game in the series by 1 goal. Glenn Hall was named the playoff MVP, facing 140 shots in 4 games. This is Mike Emrick.